Alright, today we're going to do a very rough cut of Chapter 7 from Lange. Lange is a German rapier master who teaches a system that appears to be influenced heavily by Fabris. Chapter 7 is when he first teaches you how to thrust, and the way he does it is he has got this basically almost like a flow exercise that goes through the three principal thrusts. So it begins with me constraining my opponent on the inside in court. So weak constraint, strong constraint, and then I just thrust in. For this thrust, my foot should be roughly level with his front foot. By doing this, I push his blade off to the side. What I don't want to do is thrust like this, where my front foot is level with his back foot, because then I have to really stick my arm out to get his blade off long, and that gives him a lot more room to come around. Instead, I want to be here, nice and tight, and you can see this from looking at the footwork in the illustrations. Now, of course, he's going to want to parry that thrust. So the second drill Lange does begins the same way. I constrain, I start to thrust. As he parries that, I break measure, and as I break measure, I disengage, and then I come back and attack his third over his arm. Breaking measure is very important here. If I try to just constrain, thrust, and just disengage right now, he can attack me in the middle of my disengage. I need that extra space because space means time, especially with the rapier. Now, the next one is going to have him try to attack in second. So it begins the same way. Again, I'm constrained in porta. I'm thrusting in porta. He parries. I break measure. I try to come in third. He counters in second, and now look, he's in a good position to thrust at me. To deal with this, I need to anticipate his thrust in order to break measure and to disengage from his blade. So to do that, again, we start with a constraint, I start my thrust, I break measure, I come in, he starts to go, I drop my sword underneath his. This is important. As I come back, I have to be my sword down here. This means he can't deal with my sword. He has no way of constraining it, and he's just hoping to overreach me. Now from here, I can do an outside parry in second with my point low, and then as he recovers backwards from his thrust, I can come in attacking under his sword or arm. Now in the illustration, his arm is going to be all the way up in high second. Now I'm going to be attacking underneath like this. But I can't count on that. Really, it's going to depend on how he chooses to recover. And most of the time, I think he's going to recover in a low second or even in a third. So, taking it all together, I start out at range, I get a weak constraint, I get a strong constraint, I start to thrust, he counters, I come back in third, he comes back, I counter, and he comes back, I attack under his arm. And this concludes Chapter 7. Chapter 8 will then talk about parries and riposte.